So this episode basically is pretty much a throwback to the 90s. Um, so what happens in this episode is that the Charmed Ones go into the past because a warlock that they're fighting called Nicholas, basically it's revealed that he and the Charmed One's mother made some kind of pact that allowed the Charmed One's powers to become resistant to... No, hang on. It allowed the Warlock to become resistant to the Charmed One's powers, meaning they couldn't vanquish him. So the girls go back and they get to see their younger selves. We get to see a younger Andy, and we get to see Paddy and Grams in this episode as well. This episode was very, very cool. I loved the throwbacks to the 70s. I think people who still remember the 70s would have probably got a really, really good kick out of seeing some of that old stuff. And there's some great use of time travel to a degree, but I especially loved the concept that the Charmed Ones actually still had their abilities in the past. Like, Prue and Piper were using their powers quite frequently, and it's real that the reason why they didn't still have their powers was because Grams had to basically bind their powers and make sure they forget about their abilities. And I found that really, really interesting, that sort of like Prue and Piper didn't remember actually having powers, and that them actually forgetting their powers becomes very, very important later on when we see Piper have her own children. And there's a great little parallel with this episode and what's to come in the future. So I really, really thought that was really, really cool seeing. Aspects that I didn't like about this episode were some of the time travel aspects. I kind of got the hint, or the sort of process, that the girls didn't really understand time travel. Like, they don't understand the risks that they created when going back in time. And I don't know, I just think the rules of time travel should have been more explored, and we should have seen, the dangers of time travel sort of be a thing. Because we didn't really see that in this episode. I love the interaction that Phoebe had in this episode. Like, Phoebe gets to interact with her mother, and it shows just how powerful the bond between mother and daughter are. But again, the problem is with that, Phoebe tries to, or nearly tries to, change time. and she does so without thinking of the consequences of such an action. So, yeah. Good episode. Looking forward to seeing what the next one brings. And I shall see you all guys later for another review. Bye.